Welcome to the How to Heal podcast, the show where we explore real life stories and practical tools to thrive. I'm your host, Lindsay Trimarchi Richter, and through over a 15-year journey of all things healing, I'm here to hook it up. If you're feeling overwhelmed, looking for a deeper connection, or straight up in a psycho-spiritual crisis, I got you covered. Let's unearth your unique elixir to purpose, peace, and progress. Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. Thanks for tuning in. I know that there are so many podcasts and I'm happy you found me. And if this is like the third time you're listening or like you tune in, shoot me a rating because it would really help. Today we're talking about physical. We're in the physical episode and I excerpted a portion of the interview last week and it was just that we could be in a physical episode and I could be talking about mental stuff because it's the same thing. Like that's the amazing part about this philosophy of healing. So like you go to what you need, but I would always say, like you always come. If you feel lost, if you feel like out of control, if you feel not grounded, you always come back to the physical. Let's get physical, right? That's what we come back to. And I just took a note of this. In the tarot, physical is represented by the pentacles. And it's not just our body, right? It's like everything that keeps us grounded to the earth is the physical. So this is a little more like etheric, which is what I'm talking about, how all of the pillars sort of bleed into each other. But it's not just the physical, it's our home. It's the food that we eat. It's the ground that we walk on. It's our clothes, right? It's like stability. That's physical. That's the pentacles. And I want you to just keep that in mind when you're thinking about the physical, because it's always like, oh, I need to lose weight. I need to get strong. I need to fix my skin. I need to, whatever the list goes on about how you're supposed to be beautiful. That's not what we're talking about here. Yes, like beauty is like a flex of being physically in touch and fit and stable and strong. But it is not, if we're going after beauty for the outcome, we're going to experience that same thing that I talk about in Less is Más, is like chasing clothes for status or newness or beauty. It cheapens it cheapens what we're really looking for. And what we're really looking for is, and I talk about this, is that steadfastness, the strength, the endurance, the work that we put in that we know is there, that we know we put in the reps and we're not going to get knocked over. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us grounded. That's what makes us wealthy, right? Like we save, we put away towards what we know is good, and we refrain from the easy, low-hanging fruit of, let's just, like use examples of alcohol, weed, eating, shopping, social media, screen time, being mindless, all of these things we take away from the detracting and we add to the bank of being grounded, being steadfast, doing the things that we know are right, doing the things that we know are good for ourselves. And, there's a balance here because, and by the way, my first episode, Less is Más, like after my intro episode, that got 100 downloads, which is just so interesting. So I feel like it's like a pillar, like a canon episode. So I'll be referring to that. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it because I think that it's really resonating with people. And it really gives you the foundation of sort of like the founding principle of my philosophy. So the balance is knowing when our body just needs to integrate, right? So we've put in the bank or we consume. Those are the two spectrums. We can consume really positive things, and that technically is putting in the bank. Because sometimes we need to consume external things, external support that allow us to put away in the bank. But the true piece of getting to know yourself, getting to know your intuition, getting to know how you're going to heal is when you stop taking the external sources of support and empower yourself to integrate as is. Being grounded, knowing that you've done everything and waiting, not listening to that other podcast for more information, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? I'm not even going to, like, for me, it's like not looking to astrology. I've been unfollowing a lot of astrology accounts because it's driving me insane. Like, I know the answers. I don't need to keep looking to the next full moon and what the significance is and the new moon and when Venus is going retrograde and when it's out and how it's affecting my relationship. It's just like TMI. And I'm not saying that stuff is not helpful to give me perspective on things that I may be ignoring, but there's a part of me that's like, wait a second, it doesn't feel good to consume this information because I'm not listening to myself. I've done the work. I'm stable. I'm strong. I'm grounded enough to listen to myself. I got this. I have it under control. I'm not going to like keep subscribing to something that I feel empowered with. And I hate to say it, sometimes we think that we're there and we're actually not there, right? Because we're like, we think that we have it under control, but we actually don't. Or we think we put in the right amount of work and we don't see the results yet. So then we give up on the thing, right? So like, this is the push and the pull. We just have to do enough, put enough of the bake, be grounded, trust ourselves, do the right thing to be strong enough and steadfast enough to know when we can trust ourselves. And that's the whole integration piece. So, I just wanted to talk about that, like knowing when too much is too much. Too much of a good thing. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. I gave a talk a couple months ago and I told them a little secret that I do. In my iPhone, if you have an iPhone or whatever you use, there's like a tasks feature and you can make different categories of tasks. So I have home tasks, I have personal tasks, I have podcast tasks, and I have self-care tasks. And in my self-care tasks, I've tallied a list of all of the things that I do to take care of myself. So I do not have to think about what I need to do. If I'm feeling low energy, if I'm feeling like I know I need to take care of myself, I just go and I scroll through the tasks. It's whatever those are for you guys. It's whatever those are for you. I can share some of mine if you're interested in that, but it's basically just coming back to myself and filling my cup. I know it fills my cup. I've done it enough. My task list has grown to the point where I probably have about 15, 20 things on the list. And I don't need to add any more yet. Like some things I touch a lot, some things I don't touch very frequently. Some things are seasonal, like gardening or snowboarding, or, some things are all year round. So create this list for yourself so that you can just tally like, hey, number one, I do all these things for myself so I can wrap my head around the fact that I'm taking care of myself and that feels good. That's a win because we always have to start off with like feeling good about ourselves, feeling strong about ourselves, feeling like we've had a win. That's going to motivate us to have a more positive outlook on life. I think so many times we get bogged down with like all of these negative things, all of the shortcomings, all of the negative feelings, all of the things that we're not tending to. But in reality, there are wins. There's serious wins that we have to account for. And that's also where, the gratitude comes in. It's like, what's your gratitude practice looks like? Like, it doesn't need to be you sit down and like write gratitude every day, although it's helpful to get into that practice again, like creating that grounded stability around like what a formal gratitude practice looks like. But it really comes down to the feeling of, boom, I just locked and loaded that feeling of gratefulness. I'm grateful for this because of this, because it makes me feel like this. And you're like taking the gun, loading it, aiming it, and boom, right? Like you hit it. You hit the nail on the head. So that list is going to help you just sort of refer back to the things that make you feel good, bring you back to your body. Because sometimes when you're in a place where you're just spinning, you can't figure out what you need to do next. It's like you're in a state of emergency, you're in panic, you're not going to be able to just be like, oh, you know what? Maybe like drinking a glass of water will help me right now. You're like, let me just look at my phone and get away from this feeling, you know? So just have it on your phone. I put it in tasks. It's super helpful. Yeah. And then just speaking of your phone, in terms of the physical stuff, guys, just manage those notifications, please. Like, I don't know how we live with constant notifications going off on the phone. My dog himself bugs out when he hears that ring alarm go. Like when he hears someone like a squirrel going outside, if my husband's phone is on notify when the actual ring alarm goes off, like when the camera system goes off, my dog bugs out. And I don't blame him. It's like I don't want to be notified of like a squirrel crossing the path outside. I want to be notified of the most important things. I want to free up that mental energy of I'm only being alerted of the most important things that I need to be alerted of. And guess what? When we get into a really good flow state and where our intuition is on point, we don't need the notifications. We're checking our phone when we need to check our phone. Again, the balance, right? We're checking our phone too much, we're checking our phone too little, we're looking for distraction, or we're being complacent, right? So it's like, chill out with those notifications on your phone. I personally do not have any social media notifications on my phone. I keep my phone on silent unless I have like an important call coming through that I need to get. I just keep my phone on silent. I think that can also lead to a little bit of mindless phone checking. So just be aware of what we're dealing with the phone, guys. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk about is just food. You know, there's so much noise around what food is good, what food is bad, what diet is good, what diet is bad, and why. And like biohacking. If I initially I was so interested in biohacking, and then I'm just like, this is just like a really biohacking at its core feels like a really nerdy way to look in a really bad way, like a nerdy, unintelligent person. It's like unoriginal, like trying to just like streamline a process that is not streamlinable. Like we are human, we are spiritual beings. So like we operate on different levels of energy. It's not just the same energy all the time. So when we think about food, it's not the same formula is not really necessary. If you're struggling with your weight or whatever goals you're trying to get, like the same thing, applying the same thing all the time is going to go stale. So it's really about how we're feeling when we consume food. And this last week was my husband's Jewish. We celebrated Passover last Saturday, last Sunday. We had friends over on Monday. Then we had Passover again the day before Easter because my in-laws had COVID. We had to reschedule. And then we had Easter. And when I tell you, I just ate more than I normally would. And then on top of it, I ate a lot of sugar like during the week. And I read this book like back in college called Get the Sugar Out. And it kind of changed the way I looked at artificial sweeteners, sugar. I just didn't engage. I didn't drink diet soda for 20 years. And by the way, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So my mom was like, snack walls, Diet Coke, amazing, calorie free, let's do this. So like by the time it was like 2004, I was like, okay, like this is not it. But the reason that I'm talking about sugar is because sugar and flour are made out to be like, and like modified oil are made out to be like the evils of everything. And I get it. Like, you know, there are biological reasons why those foods are not good for us. But there are also energetic and emotional needs that are being filled when we consume sugar or a baked good or like something that is quote unquote not good for us. And I read this thing one time and it was like, if you're eating a lot of sugar or feeling like you want to eat a lot of sugar, it's because you need more sweetness in your life. And I felt like that was a really sweet way. Again, it's on the spectrum, guys. So don't make excuses for yourself. But when you look at, you're like, okay, I don't really eat a lot of sugar all the time, but I'm actually craving sugar. There's like a part of my emotional body, my astral body that's like, I need sweetness. I need gentleness. And that sugar feeds that need, that emotional need, that energetic need. So just be aware that like it's not a one size fits all thing. And it's really more about the energy that you're bringing to how you're eating the food. But there's another side of us that requires so much control, so much structure, so much takeaway that sometimes like that feels good, but it's not all the time. Like we have to be able to listen to our energetic, emotional bodies to say this food is filling this need. And even our physical bodies, sometimes I'm like, "Bruh, I want meat." I was vegetarian, pescatarian for years. And I was like having dreams about eating hamburgers and steaks. And I was like, okay, it's time. It's time. I have to bring back meat. And listen, I know if you're vegetarian and you're like, okay, but like it has taught me kindness, it definitely does. Like there is a frequency of love in consuming non-animal products, and especially just getting rid of like flesh. There is a frequency of love associated with that diet. However, just because you have that frequency of love doesn't mean you'll lose it or won't be able to access it if you incorporate meat into your diet. So if you're feeling like you need it, then give it to yourself. There's no one size fits all when it comes to food. I just want to like let you know. I know I said this. I've been saying this. We can't start a diet that we expect to make our bodies smaller or like represent love with our bodies, right? Like if we want our body to look beautiful, we can't start that with a mentality of, I hate my body, hating your body into losing weight. It just won't work. So just know there's no one size fits all. We don't hate on ourselves to improve ourselves. We love on ourselves, and improving ourselves will come from that place in a lasting, more meaningful way. A couple more things I just want to talk about are ChatGPT. So I mentioned Danielle Laporte. I love her. I think she's so cool. Her voice is so calming. She's been like the OG. I found her on Twitter in like 2005 and I love her. Maybe it was a little after that, whatever. But she put out an email and then subsequently a podcast episode on using ChatGPT as a life coach and how counterintuitive that really is and how much of a stray from all of this progress that we've made to then just look to artificial intelligence. She encourages us to use the words artificial intelligence so that we actually say what it is and not AI. I've seen all these memes about like, you and AI walking on the beach together and AI is this like body of light. It's like, yeah, no, that's not what it is. It is a little bit more sinister than that. And I don't want to go too off on this topic because I think a lot of people are misusing AI, which has led me to then just prompt AI to be like, so like, what are we doing to safeguard our privacy and like prevent violence to humanity? And like, how can I use measures to be more on it? Like, I have a disclaimer on every podcast episode summary that I used ChatGPT to aid me in creating those summaries. Those are not my summaries. And, I just think that we have to take a really hard look at how, and why we're using ChatGPT. We also have to be just kind to ChatGPT, guys, and every other platform, AI, artificial intelligence platform that we're using, because we're literally programming it. We are the programmers. And I think there are a lot of people that are just angry and sad and lonely and not intelligent that are just being really mean to artificial intelligence. And then guess what's going to happen? That artificial intelligence is going to be mean to us. So let's just be responsible. There were so many other things. I'll link her podcast episode to this because I don't want to reiterate what she said. But if you're interested in just understanding having safeguards around AI for our own sovereignty, it's just important. So AI is not our best friend. AI is technology advancement that is basically an economic, social technology advancement. It's not our friend. So let's just have a boundary there. And then the last thing is, I just thought about this the other day. Like, if you're feeling like shit, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling like, oh my God, if you're feeling depressed, if you can laugh, if you can get yourself to laugh, you're doing better. Just laugh it out. Go and watch an episode of The Office. If The Office isn't doing it for you, find something else. Go watch The Hangover. I love The Hangover, or Bridesmaids, or whatever it is. Just go watch something or talk to someone who's going to make you belly laugh. If you can belly laugh, you are doing okay. Let's laugh more, guys. Our key to lightness, freedom, brilliance is lightness itself, laughter. I love you. See you next week.